Hey peeps! I thought today I would share some personal reflections after reading a recent Instagram post by Tiara. I want to read the post to you all, and I will link it down below because I want to give credit where credit is due. And also, we love Tiara's work. I think in this community we are just wholehearted supporters of Tiara and her powerful art and view. So I want to make sure we give credit where credit is due here. So this is her most recent post. Let's see, this post went up on the 28th of January. Here she says, a few thoughts after watching Lanthimos' Poor Things and the Met Opera's latest production of Carmen. A free woman is perceived as a threat to most people. She symbolizes something that we all innately desire, to truly be ourselves, to have the freedom to choose for ourselves and to live deliciously. She's passionately invested in life, and this makes her irresistible. She is magnetic, but her passion and free spirit can't be controlled or contained, and so she is hated by both men and women. Her willingness to cut her losses completely and cut out anything that doesn't lead to her earthly success and happiness makes men furious and women jealous. The more invested she is in her own life, the more despised she is, and the more people want to punish her for it. And so it goes, but you get used to it. I really resonated with this post. I've really been feeling never more authentic on my path, but also at the same time isolated on that path as well, or perhaps a sense of separation. And so when Tiara says here, her passion and free spirit can't be controlled or contained, so she is hated by both men and women. Her willingness to cut her losses completely and cut out anything that doesn't lead to her earthly success and happiness makes men furious and women jealous. And I've been having a kind of fascinating exploration of that. I think especially over the last few years, as I've really found my own creative voice, my own personal voice, and found my own path as a priestess, that in my human life there have been my earth path walk, as one of my teachers would say. There have not been many people who were able to come along on that journey with me, or who were able to be supportive. There's an interesting thing that happens when you are living outside of social, societal roles that are accepted, where you are in some ways perceived as a threat, but also fetishized in a way as well. There's a sense of being separate, I guess, that I think and believe and really feel, and I've been sitting with this for the last few months. Goddesses like Lilith and Babylon, Ma Kali, Santa Muerta, Isis, they can help us to step into our power, even when that means that there's a certain amount of separation or isolation that we might experience for a time, or a fluctuation that needs to happen with connections that can't be supportive of walking that path. Because when you say, as Tiara says here, her willingness to cut her losses completely and cut out anything that doesn't lead to her earthly success and happiness, that means that you're not staying put in roles that don't serve you any longer. That means that you're not necessarily going to confine yourself to being a certain type of individual or woman or man, and instead that you will go your own way. That's the path of a maverick, and it's the path of someone who, just by your embodiment of your own truth, prompts other people to look at their stories and their truths and where they might not be stepping into that in their own path as well, right? And So that can lead to a sense of being cut off from the fold, if you will, especially in small town America, which is where I am at this point in time. The juxtaposition of that sense of being separate and different, though, comes with this beauty of living your truth, walking a path that feels inspired, and knowing that you have the ability to evolve and change and grow at any point in time. It means you get to feel things, really feel things. And because you're outside of the acceptable societal roles, you also really get to see where the wounds are and where the secrets lie and how we can play it safe sometimes. So you get to have a different lens, the lens of the artist, if you will, because you are walking a path that doesn't look like everyone else's. So I was sitting with Tiara's post over the last day or two because she seemed to put into words this experience I've been having the last few months. I've had personally a lot of connections move out of my life over the last 10 months, 12 months. And it's been really painful to see some of those connections fall away, even though they were necessary, right? And there can be times when being courageous enough to say no to what doesn't serve you any longer and walk your own path does mean that you are doing that physically alone, divinely supported, but physically alone. And that can sometimes cause you to wonder, am I making the right choice? Am I going to feel this sense of isolation for an extended period of time, And so if you're feeling that way, then this video is for you. And I pulled a few cards from the Ritual Tarot in honor of Tiara's post and just in honor of that feeling of being different, of being separate, but not other in the sense of disempowerment, other in the sense of empowerment, because you are walking a path that's in alignment with your truth and your story and your experience, even when other people are threatened by that. So the cards that I drew for this were Temperance, the Sun, and the Eight of Coins. And gosh, does that heart in the Temperance card really stick out to me, as well as the fiery oranges to be found within the Sun and the Temperance card. This sense of circles and cycles repeating, different phases with the coins and the phases of the moon represented here as well. The sense of the clarion call of the angels. The awareness and activation within third eye that comes from waking up and refusing to do something just because everybody else is doing it or because somebody's told you that it should be what makes you happy. The freedom of the horse that's represented in the Temperance card, which of course, being Sagittarius's birth card, is very much about adventure, freedom, exploration, growth. The butterfly here within the Sun card too, the transformation of waking up to your truth and to having the courage to walk that path that is not the path everyone else is walking necessarily. But also the Eight of Coins speaks to the dedication through those times of otherness, of solitude, of separation. What is the wisdom? What is the sweet that we walk away from that dedication and hard work, that stick-to-itiveness, even when it's not easy, we don't necessarily know the next step to take, or we feel a sense of fear, or again, being excluded in some way. That we may be the only one that sees the world the way we are seeing it in our human life, right? Not within our spiritual community, but in our human life. The dedication to stick to it, even through those fears, allows us to experience the balance of the Temperance card, but also the fulfillment, the deep fulfillment of the Sun card as well. I think it's a powerful reminder for us that, as Tiara says, we have to be invested in our own life, even if other people don't get it or can't come along with us on the journey, or feel a need to attempt to punish us or make us feel small. When we come back to the core of living our truth, our story, our life, not capitulating to, again, constriction, force, and control, that is something that is unlike any other experience that we can have in life. And that is where we really feel the connection to our spiritual truth, our spiritual guides, our spiritual path, because that's what we're constantly checking into for guidance and as a barometer to let us know when something is or isn't working for us. So within the freedom isn't the safety net, but there is the deep fulfillment. And also the sense of joy that comes from investing in yourself, which the Eight of Coins speaks to. Being the student of understanding the marriage of your spirit and your body. Understanding the presence of the inner voice, instead of the list of rules or roles or expectation that others and society as a whole may be attempting to place on us. Stepping out of the subjugation of the masses, society, etc. It's a path that not many trod. And yet in the embracing of it, again, there is a deep fulfillment that makes it infinitely worth it, even if you aren't the first person picked for the basketball team. So these are some reflections I've been sitting with for the last 2 months. It's kind of been a personal experience for me of really some beautiful highs in December in my life, as well as some really deep lows as I moved into the beginning of January, and just sitting with, am I in alignment within myself? And if I am, even if someone else can't come along on that journey with me, or other people can't follow along on that journey with me, being in alignment is more important than anything else. Because I'm really no good to anyone if I'm not in alignment. I've learned that lesson. I had that lesson modeled for me by those who came before me as well. So to quote Interview with the Vampire, do we lack the courage of our convictions, right? But there's always the fulfillment and the beauty of the stick-to-itiveness of not abandoning your truth and your path, with the understanding that that's going to evolve and grow and shift, that that's not something that's static, but that there's room for growth and to change our minds and our opinions as well. So those are some reflections. I will put, again, the link to Tiara May's post on Instagram in the description box down below. I am sending you all, as always, much love and many blessings, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.